motored all day yesterday coming back in from our anchorage just because it was super calm and we had no wind. And when we got back to the slip, we just kind of did our normal check through like we usually do. And there was a bunch of water in our engine compartment, maybe about, what, 2 inches, give or take?
The biggest spot, yeah.
Hey, I'm Krystal, and this is Alex. And this is our fur baby Dexter. Together, we bought a Tanzer 26 and are currently sailing on Lake Ontario. We are complete beginners with no previous experience. Subscribe and join us as we learn how to sail and fix up our boat. Alex noticed there was like a little bolt that had some residue on it, and Alex touched it to see if it was still wet, and the bolt broke and there's just no threading to it whatsoever. So we're gonna try to figure out what that is right now and keep you guys updated depending on what that might be.
Here's the end of the bolt that I pretty much just touched. Like I put like my pinky on it pretty much and it broke off. And it's so loose that I can just get my fingernails onto the bolt that's left into the opening, and I'm still able to loosen it. So I think the threads all in there are just maybe from the vibration of the motor or whatever have just like stripped it, and that's where I think our biggest leak was coming in, hopefully our only leak. But at least I'm super happy because that bolt that broke off in there, like that is like the worst case scenario of something that can happen. So when I went in there and could just get my fingertips on it to spin it around and notice that it was so free, like that's awesome, because now I can get a new bolt, put it back in place. So that's like a best case scenario. It's better that I broke it here on board.
Yeah.
Like if it was that easy to break, like a big day of swell with us putting our engine on, like that could have snapped at any time and maybe wouldn't have noticed it, and then like, you know, it would have been pouring in.
And now we just have to figure out what that bolt is for.
Right now I have the bolt, but it doesn't have any of the threads on it really. So I don't know if it's a coarse thread or a fine thread.
That's just crazy how it's done.
So next time I'm going to unscrew it, drain out whatever's in there. I'm sure a bunch of oil and stuff is going to pour out. And then go to the store and get a replacement and put it in, and Bob's your uncle.
We just had done a bunch of maintenance and we were having issues with our water intake. We finally fixed that. We found buildup of sediment, cleaned it, everything was working great, and then all of a sudden all this water. So it's never-ending maintenance with a boat. You found the culprit?
So it's the rocker arm bolt.
What are you doing?
I'll just rest my chest on the engine block.
How come?
I love the feel of oil on my skin.
Another wrench gone into the abyss.
No, I can get it. Oh, this is a nightmare.
Are you okay in there? Basically, there's clamps on our propeller. So on our shaft seal, sorry. So Alex is kind of like deep into the engine right now, trying to just see, because with all the water coming in, we're not really sure if maybe they're a bit loose. So he did actually find one is loose, was it? Yeah, so that's a good idea. So hopefully maybe that was part of the issue too, but it's a pretty tight space to get into. Poor Alex, just like struggling. Like, poor guy. Hopefully that will help solve some of the issues.
That might be where our water's coming in. So I just tighten one up a little bit and a little bit of water came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't break them. Are you sure you're tightening it, not loosening it?
Oh, I'm tightening it.
Don't break anything. I know you like shit tight, but sometimes too tight is bad. I'm a little bit stressed because Alex is tightening these seals, the clamps for them, and Alex, as you know in previous videos, likes his stuff really tight, and I'm sitting here like slightly nervous that he's gonna over tighten one and it's gonna break and there's gonna be a bunch of water just comes flooding into our boat. I'm kind of nervous. Eh?
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm literally scared that something's gonna happen. Oh my god. How much water came in?
Like a little shot.
Just when you're just tightening it?
Yeah. I wish I could see it better.
Can I help? What can I do?
I might have to take that out, or table mount, and get better access to it.
Oh, I'm stressed.
Just screws.
Guys, I'm super stressed. I'm stressed right now about what's gonna happen. Alex is probably gonna like sink our boat.
Don't say that.
Next turn.
How you doing?
Doing good. The access is actually decent in here. I think for sure this is where our water was coming in. Well, and that other spot. Basically, there's two clamps, one here and one here. And I think water was slowly getting past both the clamps because they're pretty loose. And I think earlier when I tightened up this clamp, there was a little bit of water that was between them. And I shot that out. It's not a big leak, but water was getting in through our shaft seal. And it's something I definitely should have checked when we were on the hard. And I'm just gonna tighten it up a bit more, and then I'm gonna leave it because I don't want to do too much, because like the problem we have now isn't the big problem. And I'll like take it all apart like when we're on the hard again. Oh, this spot sucks.
Looking good.
I just need a break. Oh, yeah, I don't like this at all though. Because like I can't see one of those clamps just like snapping or whatever and something seriously wrong happening, but like there's like that's a possibility. And if that happens, like water's gonna start pouring in. So this is the new Banjo bolt that goes to the rocker arms for our engine. With Tanzer 26s with the YSM8, there was only like 10 boats or so that came with this engine in it, so it's very, very hard to find parts for it. So I went places that specialize in nuts and bolts. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I went to the marine store, and I was able to find pretty much the same thing. It's the bolts that are used in like the GM 10, 20, and 30 models, which like there was thousands of those motors made. I pretty much got the exact same bolt. The only difference is the through hole going through the bolt is about 3 times bigger than the one that we had for the YSM8. But I was talking to a mechanic, and it should be okay. It just means like there'll be a more flow of oil than there was in the last one, which shouldn't be that big of a difference. So if you guys are working on your engine and you have similar problems with your Banjo bolts, if you can't find the exact same bolt, but you can get the exact same thing with a bigger through hole, it should be okay. So that's what I'm doing here. Then there's that coupling that it goes in, and there's a washer in front of it and a washer behind it. And I don't know if it's like rusted and made like little dimples and stuff in it, but I need to make sure that I'm sanding it like really, really flat and like the same surface that like the bolt's gonna go into. So all I'm doing is getting some sandpaper and poking it through. I'm gonna put the bolt through that fitting and spin the bolt around on the fitting. So that way I make sure like it's a really nice, smooth, get out any of those dimples or whatever, just to make it like a better of a seal. So something like that when you're done. And then while keeping the bolt pressed tight against it in a circular motion, and that should kind of like clean it up and keep it somewhat nice and straight and flat. So here's the new Yanmar pipe joint bolt, and the specific size is 8mm. But yeah, you want to make sure you have a washer on the bottom and the top. I'm going to hand tighten it to make sure that it goes in nice and I'm not stripping anything. And then I'll get the wrench for the last little bit. That actually tightened though. The last one wouldn't.
No, it just was completely loose.
Like it
Was there
wouldn't.
no threads on it?
No, it looked like there was threads.
Alright, bud. How you feeling?
Pretty dirty, but happy. Other than finding out about like the stuffing box, I got to do a little more research on that. But that's definitely our slight water and oil leak for the Yanmar pipe joint bolt. But definitely, I think the main water leak was coming in through our stuffing box, which sucks because I can't fix that until we're on the hard kind of deal. But at least I tightened everything up and did the most we could. And it's not like a bad leak by any means. Like it's not like water's pouring in or anything like that. So we should be fine until we are back on the hard. But it is something that we're definitely going to have to monitor as the year goes on. But we're done. It's pizza and wing time.
And our boat didn't sink. It's
Beer
not
time?
sunk yet. I was afraid that it might sink when Alice was doing all that. There was some water coming in.
Dexter.
Not a lot, but enough. Well, we did the engine maintenance yesterday and we've let everything sit and things look pretty good so far. So we're going to go out for a sail and wish us luck. Fingers crossed that we don't get any more problems with motor or any more extreme leaking like we were having. So
I wouldn't say extreme, but
Yeah.
more than we're comfortable with, for sure. If it was extreme, we wouldn't be going back.
it was extreme to me. Anyway, wish us luck. Hope it goes good.
We're going sailing. That's all I care about. Thanks, guys. Can they do pump outs today? Wait, like that?
Just got a pump out and Alex came in a little too hot because he was paying attention to Dexter. And we had some little issues with docking, but I don't know if you guys got to see any of that. We forgot the camera was rolling anyway, so it wasn't a good view, but it was pretty funny.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
So the motor seems to be doing okay so far. Alex is just down below to look at if there's any water still coming in that one area that we're thinking of. But everything seems pretty good so far. We put up the mainsail and the water is coming in from somewhere that it wasn't where we thought it was coming from. It's the gasket, and anyways, I'll let Alex explain that because he's better at explaining things. So Alex is down there now checking to see if he can tighten a few things while we're sailing. The good thing is that it's not actually coming in from anywhere crazy. We could just turn our through haul off, our water intake for the engine off, and then we should be fine. So that's kind of a good thing. So anyways, I'm helming, just the main up, and waiting for Alex to come back out.